Hi, welcome back to Hearn Family Homestead. I'm Amanda. Today I thought I'd give you a little garden tour and we'll talk about some of our wins and some of our losses this year. To start out with, we have our okra here. It just started taking off in the heat. We haven't actually harvested off of it yet. And then we've got some green onions and some leeks farther down. And then on the outside we have our red onions. Some of them are starting to fall over, but we're trying to get them as large as possible before we harvest. On the trellis on this side of the garden we have some cherry tomatoes, and then we have 3 other tomato plants that I previously had thought were oxheart, but they're definitely not. So I believe I planted Bonnie's Best on this side and just changed my garden plan at the last minute. And we do have some splitting going on a few of these, and that's just from the heavy rains that we had, so we'll probably have to harvest those a little early. We've got our zucchini plants. We've harvested 1 zucchini so far. Everything's just a lot later. And there's one coming on down there that you can see. We also have purple pole beans on this trellis. And they have not started producing yet, but they are right on the verge. We have a jungle of peppers down here. We've got banana peppers, and farther down some shishito and some chili peppers. And a few Anaheim. These are called Advarsky peppers, and I like to make paprika out of them. You let them turn red, and then you dry them and powder them. These are some beets that we planted. This is actually the second planting of beets. You can see there's a few that made it from the first planting, but we went ahead and planted again, and now they're looking like they're going to produce a crop. Our Three Sisters garden is kind of a study in contrast. Some of the corn grew fairly tall, some of it stayed short. The beans seem to be doing all right, and the squash down here at the bottom, one of the squash plants, these are both sweet meat, one of them is doing awesome, putting out lots of runners, and the other one seems to be struggling. The leaves are turning yellow. I believe this is a magnesium deficiency. But if you guys know what is causing this, they're growing about 6 inches apart. So if you have any ideas of what might be causing this, please let me know so that we can fix it. I have been treating with an Epsom salt spray, but it hasn't made much of a difference. On this side of the garden, we've got our volunteer sunflowers and a jungle of dill. And the cucumbers are just starting to produce. They're climbing up the dill. You can see one there. These are jade bush beans. I've picked a couple of pickings off of them, just enough for a stir fry. And you can see they're starting to get kind of crunchy leaves. If you guys know of a bush bean that thrives in really hot, shorter summers, put it in the comments down below and we will see if we can change these out next year for ones that do a little better around here. We've got a few eggplants set on. These are the ping tongue eggplants. I had them backwards on the last video. The ping tongue long, and then we've got the purple variety in the back. I believe they're Purple Beauty. And here we have some more eggplant. And our broccoli plant here in the front, it's still producing a few little side shoots. It may pick up when it gets a little cooler. We've got our row of kale, some beet seedlings behind here that we planted. And this section has some carrots in the back, and then beets, and some turnips. These are gill feather turnips, and some comfrey leaves sticking out there from some volunteer comfrey. These are our Bonnie's Best tomatoes, and they did really well last year, and they have produced quite a bit this year. But for some reason, the one on the end here succumbed to what I believe is magnesium deficiency. We did spread the Epsom salts underneath and give it an Epsom salt spray, and we also planted it with Epsom salts, so I'm not sure why this one is doing so poorly while the others seem to be doing fine. This tomato plant is Dr. Weike's Roman Candle. You can see this one is starting to get ripe. This is the only Hungarian oxheart that I have growing in my garden, and It does have the typical ox heart shape. So we're happy to have that. Right between this Hungarian ox heart and this Arkansas Traveler, we have a Heat Master. As you can see, it is the master of nothing this year. I tried everything I knew to do, and it just did not thrive. By far my favorite tomato variety this year has been this Arkansas Traveler. It has put on copious amounts of fruit. You can see on the other side there's a huge cluster. And it seems to be ripening just fine without splitting. Right next to the Arkansas Traveler, you can see there's another Bonnie's Best, and this one did succumb to some splitting. And we will need to pick those and use them up before they rot out from those splits. So we'll use those green in a stir fry or something like that. And the difference in fruit set on these three plants is amazing. The Arkansas Traveler on both sides and then the Bonnie's Best in the middle. The Arkansas Traveler seems to have not been hurt too bad by the 100-degree temperatures we had. We have been getting some oregano and some basil from our herb bed. The oregano's on the left there, and then basil. And we do have 2 lavender plants in here and some more basil. Probably the most obvious difference this year in wins and losses is our fruit trees. This is our peach tree, and it has doubled in size and is doing awesome. Just as our peach tree was our biggest win this year, our apricot tree has been our biggest loss. We lost it to a peach tree borer. As you can see, we tried to find it right here and destroy it, but the tree was already too far gone. I think it has actually been in there for a year, even though I did get a borer out last year. I don't think I got all of them. These are our Irish potatoes that we planted in tubs, and we tried to keep them going as long as possible to get a bigger harvest, but they just did not thrive in these tubs. So we're going to harvest them today and just see how they did. So you can see we didn't get a huge harvest on either variety. We did harvest another tub that had another variety in it earlier, and we got about the same yield. These are our sweet potatoes. We still have 5 tubs planted with sweet potatoes that are growing great. So hopefully we'll get a yield from those. We'll wait and see. And our raspberry patch has exploded this year. We've got lots of shoots for next year. And so we're happy about that as well. Thanks for joining me today, guys. Be sure and like and subscribe if you're not already, and share this video, and we will catch you on the next one.